from the smoke. You totally weren't watching the screen. You just ruined the best intro and you weren't watching the screen. I just had smoke come up.
I saw it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was really cool.
Oh, okay.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Well, screw that whole intro. Hey, what's going on, guys? I have to apologize for the late start here. For some reason, Google apparently has banned Trek from joining us tonight. So I don't know what's going on with that. So unfortunately, Mr. Blueman's going to carry the show for us here. All the weight is on his shoulders, but I know he's a stand-up guy and can do it.
I also have a sock puppet that I can bring out and be like, "Hello, everybody."
You have to put like an orange beard on it and give it a cigar like Trek.
Like Two-Face kind of thing and be like, "Hello, everybody," and have like a beard on me. I don't know what he looks like, so. Anywho.
Great beard. So again, I'm sorry about the guys. Trek we tried to do a bunch of stuff, can't get him to connect. He's going to try a few other things. He's going to restart and all that stuff. So we'll try to get Trek on here. If not, we will do this again sometime when we can get Trek on and get Mr. Blueman back on. But anyways, welcome to episode 79. This is a live show on YouTube. You guys know the drill. It's also on iTunes, podcast format, Stitcher, all those good audio streaming devices. So you can listen to the show and all the other shows on that as well. If you guys got any questions, join the conversation. Hop in, please put it in the chat. There's a bunch of guys out there. Shout out to Phil, Jake, AC Dude, Drofnos, which is Matt, I believe, Robert, 4C Tactical, Jesse. We got CWB, Tyler. We got a bunch of dudes, Major League Shooter, bunch of people out there. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. So again, if you guys like the show, please click like, and if you would share it, that would be great. This is going to be an interesting topic, and I think something that definitely needs to be discussed a little bit more. So what we're going to do is this show is exactly the same as the last episode, but we're going to be discussing with Mr. Blueman. So let's get to it. Welcome to Practically Tactical, episode 79, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. The Practically Tactical show is a slightly more practical approach to the firearms lifestyle. This show features a roundtable discussion about guns, gear, and shooting with some of the best firearms instructors, figures, and shooters in the firearms industry. For more information on Practically Tactical, please visit practicpodcast.com/079. On this episode, we're going to be continuing our discussion of what is a responsible gun owner. So part 2 with Mr. Blueman from Arm Dynamics. Also, I wanted to mention that Trek from MDFI might be joining us. He was supposed to be on already, and for some reason, Google won't let him join. So hopefully he'll be joining us later on. We're supposed to have him on here. But Mr. Blueman, thank you for coming on, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, I always love coming on here.
Oh, yes. So before we jump into this, you did your show. You did your class with William April. You just completed it, just got home. So tell us a little about what you guys did out there and a little bit about the class, would you? Because it looks like a really, really interesting class.
Cool. Well, hopefully it looks interesting because it really is. It was a phenomenal class. It was a really, really good one. This is the second time that we've done it, so it was I would say probably twice as polished as it was before, as far as the format and exactly what we were trying to get out of it. And it was great. It was 2 days long. The class was 8 people, and then one dude came in just for the lectures who had taken it last year before. And the class was just great in that everybody had a really good attitude. We shot in the rain Saturday, and when it really started to pour, we broke and just did one of William's excellent lectures about the violent criminal actor and what goes into criminal mindset. And I've heard them now 1, 2, 3, I think 4 times, and I still learn something every time, and put a new piece in my brain of what that whole paradigm is. And then a lot of live fire. Sunday was even more live fire. And just the growth in the students in those 2 days was tremendous. People that were shooting, we had every single person in that class shooting probably twice as fast, if not 3 times as fast as when they came, with better accuracy. Like, wow. The very, very last thing that we did was just to kind of tie everything together, because we had a very stressful couple of drills toward the end of the class where you're moving around people with guns, and you need to be very aware of where your muzzle is and how to avert your muzzle from crossing anything you don't wish to kill, destroy, or buy. And Yeah, I mean, the last drill, we were just like, okay, we're going to put this one target up right now. And it was just a pie plate and then a 3x5 card. And the goal of it is that they don't break their cadence. And by this time, we've done a gaggle of drills about cadence.
A gaggle, that's a lot for those that don't know.
That's a lot. I love the word gaggle. It almost sounds like Fraggle and Fraggle Rock. We're back. You know what? Today's theme is going to be puppets and Muppets.
Are you wearing your shirt?
No, I didn't want to wear it again.
That would have completed like the trifecta.
Oh, thanks. This is just a regular shirt. But no, and then so like the whole point of it is that if you fire 6 rounds, 5 to the upper chest and 1 to the face, it shouldn't sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they killed it. I mean, it was just lightning speed rounds, and everybody there, I think, was shooting at least quarter seconds, if not 0.2 second splits.
Wow.
Rounds and with better accuracy. So I thought it was awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and the class did too. So yeah.
Well, and all the people out on YouTube just mentioned that. Yeah, apparently Google's not working. If I don't make Google focus on you, they don't see you at all. So I have to click on you. So you folks out there are in for a treat on YouTube because you're going to see Jeff's face for however long the show is. It's just his face. So
are you really?
Yeah. If I don't make YouTube focus on you, it's stuck on me.
Well, isn't that weird? That the same thing happened when I was doing a William April interview, but didn't it used to like go between us, whoever was talking?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to cuss.
Yes. Thank you.
Really hard.
So let's jump into the main segment here and let's get to it. So we did part 1 and I grabbed some just friends of mine. We had Ben from Hardline Tactical. We had the Asian Jedi, Scott, a bunch of other guys. And so I really wanted to get Trek on and you on together to form, the super group to discuss this. But so it's going to be pretty much the same topics as before, but a little bit different. So something we didn't talk about before, which I think would be interesting. So the question we're going to be discussing is, what is a responsible gun owner? And obviously to be a gun owner, you have to be a citizen. So Jeff, what are your thoughts on what is a responsible citizen before we get to what is a responsible gun owner?
That's a really good question. I read that in the show notes, and I was hoping that I would be the second person to go, what is a responsible citizen? I don't know. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind if I'm doing a stream of consciousness type thing.
Stream it.
I mean, somebody that abides by laws, someone that's, respectful towards others, and doesn't have like all sorts of crap in their yard so their neighbors have to look at that all the time.
Okay.
Top 3.
No, I mean, that's a good summary. I mean, literally just somebody that doesn't ruin other people's lives would be nice, maybe, or at least leaves other people alone, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm attracted to people that are nice. I don't really like dickheads, so I'd say don't be a dickhead. If you want to be a good citizen, be nice, be friendly-ish.
Yeah.
No.
Follow the laws. Maybe actually vote. Maybe if people actually got and vote would be nice. Maybe. I don't know. Use turn signals. I would like to include that. Use a turn signal to be a good citizen.
Yes. Yeah. They're there for your use.
Yeah. All right. So what in your opinion then what is a responsible gun owner? No easy questions here. By the way, I need to point out there's a hashtag game going on in chat right now. Hashtag never enough Jeff. Hashtag Jeff is love, Jeff is life.
What is it? Jeff is love, Jeff is life?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Are any of them blonde?
I don't know.
Wrong chat room. My bad. No, I think a responsible gun owner is man, it's so hard because if you worked in a gun store, and if you work in a gun store behind the counter for 1 week, you walk in there and you're like, this is awesome. Everybody, with the guns and stuff, and I'm going to meet people like-minded. And then reality sets in. Yeah. And you realize how stupid most people are. I mean, it's scary. It's frightening. And I don't have a nice way of saying it. Anybody that can own a car can own a gun. And a lot of those people shouldn't be driving and shouldn't be shooting. You really. And it's just, so it's hard. I don't even really like, honestly, the term gun owner because, and may sound like a high and mighty thing. I don't really care. You know, too many stupid people own guns. Like I don't call myself, I'm a car owner, and I have this great camaraderie with the person next to me, my next door neighbor, because they also own a car. Like it's just, so I think that there's more irresponsible stuff with guns going on by quote unquote gun owners than most people recognize. So I think the first thing is take it seriously, you know, not just from an instructor perspective, but I was raised around guns. I was raised, my father taught me how to shoot at a young age. And for whatever reason, I just was always fascinated by them. In fact, my mother was, back when I lived in New York and I was at like the 92nd Street Y in preschool or whatever, my mother got called in by one of the preschool teachers or whatever they call it, teachers, and for a conference. And they were like, Mrs. Bluvman, we're a little bit concerned because everything that Jeffrey touches, he turns into a gun. And so my mother was like, well, is he being like violent and like shitty about it? And they were like, no. Oh yeah, mark your pad.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm just going to tell you when I'm going to cuss. But you know, you couldn't get away with that now. But so I've always had this fascination. But at a certain point, I mean, if you're going to be carrying a gun, man, I mean, take a class with someone, even if it's an NRA basic class, you know. I think that people are just way too blasé with their gun handling and with all that stuff. And now you, right, somebody that had never had a formal class, now that you kind of got what I call the training bug, how much more do you know?
Yeah. Well, I've had classes before. Remember, my first time was with Sam. Oh, well, that sounded really weird. My first time training was with Sam.
Right.
But it'd been 2 years. I mean, degradation of skills is huge in between classes. But
before you studied with Sam, like how big of an eye opener was that first class?
Oh, huge. And that was just basic. We're talking basic pistol. Now that I've taken, you know, the two classes I took beginning with MDFI, it's called You Suck, It's Not the Gun, and then Foundation Handgun. And both of those were just mind blowing. And then this weekend I took the home defense shoot house class. This is geared for home defense. And you want to talk about just it makes you rethink everything and literally how, like, unless it is the last decision you should ever make, you don't ever want to clear your home by yourself ever. Especially when literally you can at night when they can sneak up on you in the dark and you're just like, like it could totally happen.
Well, there's an age-old adage, which is like structure clearing is 50% hunting, 50% being hunted. But I think that number goes even down further and further when you think about if somebody's holed up waiting for you. Oh yeah. And that's the proverbial soup sandwich. See, I don't have to cuss.
Yeah. I mean, not to jump on a bunch of other stuff would be, the thing with house clearing is you can, again, you come to a hallway and, right or left, whichever way, you have to go one way. You can do everything right, and if you just pick the wrong way, you're dead. It's a 50-50 chance, no matter what.
There's a major element of chance. The whole thing with it is trying to mitigate and lessen the amount of exposure that you have, and it's complicated. It's not easy. It's challenging, right?
But the bigger aspect of it is taking a class. It opens up your mind into other possibilities. It's like, so when I was running a low light class. And I had the Surefire X300U, 600 lumens, not enough. Like, why didn't I grab the flashlight in my pocket and run a strong hand, one hand, and another flashlight? They just splash the ground, give me so much more light. Or there's things that you don't think of until you can actually get done with the class and decompress and be like, oh, duh.
Yeah. So absolutely, yeah. I mean, and I'm right there with you. I would say that I think that a responsible gun owner, if you're a hunter, you take a hunter's ed class, I think that people should be utilizing, even if it's an NRA class, and there's plenty of great NRA instructors. One of them is my friend Jose Morales of Philadelphia Firearms Training. So I think the first thing is education, and it's not like the gun does anything but one thing. It does one thing. blows shit up. It puts bullets in things. It perforates things. It ventilates things. I don't care what word you use, but it's not like, oh, well, I don't want to go take a driving class because, my car takes me to work. Well, the gun only does one thing, and that's kill things. I mean, someone I'm sure is watching, or, somebody heard me say, that's real anti-gun. Well, what else does it do?
Yeah.
Does it make you coffee? No. Now, it can be used to take a life, but it can also be used in the same vein to save a life. So that's where, the rest of the sentence comes in. But as far as that goes, I think that we need to be a lot more rigorous with safety. And if you let's say you don't work in a gun shop, I'll make this challenge to people watching the show. Go and hang out at a gun shop, for an hour. Just mill about and just watch how many times the people behind the desk get flagged. People flag themselves, people just doing all sorts of horrible things. And it's like, look, this is a gun. This is designed to, again, put bullets in things. So I think that safety is one thing. I think another thing that's of uber importance is having a gun safe. And because like I've said before, imagine how violated you would feel if somebody breaks into your house and steals your television. Okay.
Yeah.
So feel that emotion. And now imagine how violated you would feel if somebody breaks in and steals your AK-47. I mean, I wouldn't be able to sleep just knowing that the gun that I owned is now on the street. I don't know where it is, what it's being used for. I mean, that's a big deal, So I think that, saving up a couple bucks, even getting a regular locker and bolting it into the floor is better than nothing. But there was one case, and this is years and years and years ago, I think a guy in Florida who had a Class 3 collection, and it got stolen.
Oh.
Now you're talking about, and it was a laundry list of awesome Class 3 guns like MAC-10s and all this old school cool stuff. And I'm like, man, I'd have to be on like massive anxiety pills after that, knowing that I am responsible for those guns getting on the street. So I think having a gun safe for all my purposes, everything that I don't have on my person is in a secure location.
Yeah, I believe those are all valid points. I do want to, so I put it out on some of our social media stuff of what some listeners or followers thought. And I kind of wanted to read a mention here. And if you have a comment to say on it, throw on it there. But I want to throw it out from Matt, who says, one who takes safety seriously. Part of that safety is training. Maximizing one's ability and equipment through training is key. I really liked that one right there.
Good. That's awesome. That's really good.
Yeah. Another one was a responsible gunner, in my opinion, is one that follows all safety procedures, even when their firearm isn't loaded. They store their weapons so that underage and untrained people can't get a hold of them without breaking the law. They keep up to date on records, and when they carry when it's legal to do so. They take time to educate others on safety and laws in the area, and they report stolen weapons. I thought that was a pretty good one too.
These are really good.
Yeah,
a smart viewership.
Hey, I think so. I'll read another one here, actually from a fellow YouTuber on Instagram, Major League Shooter. And he's actually out in the chat as well. Someone who understands the potential hazards of gun ownership. Knowing this, the person takes extra precautions to avoid accidents or unfortunate events. I think that was good as well. And here's another one actually from another fellow YouTuber, Pigs and Guns. He thought a better question is what makes someone an irresponsible gun owner?
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Oh, that's a really good one. I
can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit.
Also, our good friend Jared from AGS Armament also commented on there as well. Another one from Lewis, LUIIS_Angel. Respect the gun and always think to yourself that it's always loaded, even when not. There are a few more, but they're really, really long, so I won't read them. But I appreciate you guys commenting on all that stuff right there.
Those are all really good. And, some of those are, part of the universal safe gun handling rules. Like the number one thing is treat all guns as if they're always loaded. For my intents and purposes, I think the best way to do that is just keep the thing loaded. But there are times, obviously, when we unload the gun. But that's why the operative word there is treat all guns as if they're always loaded.
Yeah. Funny little story, because I don't think you've been on the show with Greg since he's been on for quite a while, is his first gunshot shooting he had to go into and treat as an EMT. A guy shot himself with a .380, went up the arm and exited out. And it was the second time the dude had shot himself while cleaning the same gun. So that'll bring us to what is
awesome segue.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That's called comedic timing, folks.
Yes. That was total luck. But so, I mean, and maybe something too is, the reason, maybe we need to talk a little bit about the reason for this is not to harp on gun owners. It's not to, degrade them or anything like that. What we're trying to do is, we're trying to make a conversation out there for, number one, that if people get into a situation where they see something that's irresponsible, is they know how to talk about it. I think that's really important, or explain to people why what they're doing is irresponsible and why that hurts us. But overall, the point of this conversation is our rights are going to be under attack. They're always going to be under attack, and doing stuff responsibly helps our cause, because anything that irresponsible that happens, it's going to get out there. It's going to get spread around. It's going to be on the internet. It's going to be on the news. So, we do have to, as we say, do a little policing. I don't think that's a bad thing. Self-regulation is not a bad thing. Doing a little policing of our own industry is not a bad thing, right?
Absolutely. And the other thing is this, why should gun owners be beyond reproach? It's the same thing for me for religion. I'm not going on to that subject, but I don't think anything's beyond reproach. You should be able to call someone out about something if you feel like it's, whether it's unsafe or unfair. Like with the recent Supreme Court ruling. I mean, that's some good stuff. And that's another thing that bothers me about gun owners is that they're so hardcore about my rights and my rights and my rights. And then, they're selective about them though. It's
that's
you're either for rights or you're not. I mean, I'm not talking about everybody should be able to walk in and buy a 40 millimeter, Mark 19 grenade launcher. I'm not that, libertarian extreme kind of thing, but you can't pick and choose the rights to suit your mood.
Yeah. Well, that's something I really want to mention with Trek, because me and Trek have had this conversation before, for sure off air, for sure this weekend, and maybe on the show too, but people are like, don't tread on us, as long as you agree with me, type of deal.
Yeah. And it makes A, my skin crawl, B, my blood pressure go up, and C, it just makes me just shake my head. I'm like, okay, well, when it's convenient for you, thanks, but I don't know. That's a major sore subject for me. Yeah. That whole thing.
I completely agree.
We go into that, but
we might. We'll see where this goes.
But we'll see where it takes us.
But something too, which I said we're not. There's nothing wrong with policing a little bit in the inside. And so much too is we're not harping on gunners. We see irresponsible stuff in the news every single day.
Yeah.
There's so many irresponsible things. When it involves a gun, it's just going to be more prolific. Mm-hmm. But something what we did on the last show was, what's one of the most. It's kind of not funny, but at the same time, it kind of is. Especially with you working in a gun shop, is what's the fun. I don't want to say funniest, but funniest stupid gun thing that you'd have seen.
Oh, I got it. Immediate. Wow. I'm quicker than I thought I'd be tonight. I was pretty tired earlier. No, so a guy walks in. Oh, Jesus. Mark, that I just cussed. So a guy walks in and he's like, he's getting a little very quick, schooling on the AR. He's like, this is a gas operated direct impingement, semi-automatic, blah, 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 blah. And he says, so it's gas operated? Yeah. And then we're like, yeah. And he says, well, do you guys sell the gas here? And I mean, what do you say to that? In fact, one of the dudes that worked at the shop, his name was Dan, and I got such a kick out of him because he would never hide how he felt. And one time, I come out of the back from gunsmithing, and I'll see if I can you can see. So there's a guy over here in front of the counter, just typical mouth breather, and he's just like, so the gun, and this is Dan behind the counter, and I shit you not, eyes closed. Kind of shaking his head, just listening to this guy and kind of half answering. And I just, but that's what it does to you. You want to go from extremely pro gun to mildly anti-gun. working a gun shop for a week.
That is fact.
Right, you know, and like people are going to be like, oh, do it. You don't believe me? Do it.
Do it.
Now, I'm still not anti-gun, but it just, we're talking about lethal instruments that are designed for lethality, Let's take it a little more serious.
Why we say that kind of chuckling. But okay, so
right.
So let's jump into it of what is an irresponsible gun owner? Because I think that was a great question. So Pigs and Guns, thank you. For all those out there on YouTube, search Pigs and Guns, you'll find him. If you like silencers, that's all his channel has. There's tons of silencers. Check that out. Yeah, the fun stuff. So what is an irresponsible gun owner? You may have to narrow the list down, but
well, I would say that somebody that is unsafe. I mean, there are a lot of people that have not taken training classes, formal training classes, that are perfectly safe with their firearms. Let's say they're doing bench rested type shooting. They're training, how many people, grandparents taught their sons or grandsons or granddaughters, and, they go up to the line, they have their firearm case, they open the case, they keep the muzzle oriented down range, they put it down, they load it, they shoot it, so like, don't think that I'm just like, if you've never taken a class, you don't know anything. I'm not saying that. You can be completely safe with your gun. But I think that, you, again, spend a week in a gun store or an hour in a gun store and you just see irresponsible stuff. I think that knowledge is power with anything. Like, for example, people you'd see coming to the shop, and I didn't spend very much time at all behind the counter. I was always in the gunsmithing room.
Were you allowed to be behind the counter?
Well, that was the funny thing. Like, the phone would ring, and I'd be like, I'll get it. and I'd be like, I want to get it. And then they'd be like, nah, that's probably not a good idea. Literally, it was pretty funny. But
yeah, we got GATs down here. Come and get one.
Oh God, So hold on, where were we? What were we talking about?
What is an irresponsible gun owner?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, seriously, is the whole open carry thing. And I know that some people are going to get all like, crazy about it. My thing is this, though. I guess it's like, which is the most taboo? I think that I don't see the point unless it's the only way that you can carry a gun legally is to do so openly. There's some states that are still like that. Some places that are still like that. Then it's like, look, dude, do what you got to do. But nobody has been yet to be able to demonstrate how having an openly, visible handgun is going to help them. The other thing that's quite interesting, and this comes from actually William April, world-class criminologist, somebody that has interviewed, unlimited amounts. Who even knows how many amounts of legitimate criminals? We're not talking about like, oh, well, we're talking about some theory, blah, 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 blah. No, it's like the dude spent time, repeated times, A lot of criminals, they see you with a gun. They're not thinking this, right? And this is what you hear from all the open carry people is this. They'll see my gun and they'll know, not to bother me. Think about this. Criminal sees the gun. He's thinking, that's an expensive item.
Yep.
Do we see? And I loved when he said that in the class during one of the lectures, was William this past weekend. This is absolutely accurate. Like if I see you with a swatch on, it's like, all right, maybe I can get $30 for that. If I see you with a pistol on you, I can get a lot of money for that. And I don't care who you are. You cannot be 100% aware of everything all the time. How many times do people walk past you and they're behind you now? They see you with, and this is the part where I'm like, I'm really not going to try to denigrate open carriers. I want you to just think about this for 1 second. And if a criminal sees you with that gun, we think, the world is not as we see it. Okay. That's, we have a tendency to put our moralities and ethics and kind of project them into the world, but that's not the way the world works. There are bad people out there, okay, that have different ethics. They have the set of morals and ethics, but they're different from ours, So you got, if I can walk past this guy and brain him, with a fist or a rock or an a tire iron, I love people always mention tire irons. Like, when's the last time I even saw one? But
I don't know.
it's just
They
cool.
used They're probably not in anymore. It's not the cool thing anymore.
Right. It's not the cool thing. And takes your gun. Well, he just robbed you of your gun. And the other problem is that oftentimes with cultured whatever, I don't know what it is in the ethos and the ether or whatever, but they'll take your gun and they'll kill you with it.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. But I've mentioned.
I do want to throw this in real quick because it reminds me of a story. There was this would have been, it was when I was on This Week in Guns, I don't know, a while ago, we talked about, there was a guy who just bought, I think it was the Sig Mosquito. That's their little 22 little gun, right? The Sig Mosquito.
Yeah, they suck.
Right? Yeah. So he bought it and he was open carrying it in Oregon and he got robbed of it. A guy pulled a gun on him, said, "That's a nice gun. Why don't you let me have it?"
Yeah. But I'm almost like, that's what I think about open carry, and I've yet to see it demonstrated how it's superior in any way other than what we think the bad guy is going to be thinking. And again, I offer up, that's an expensive thing that I can get a bunch of money for, way more money than what you got on your wrist, more than likely. But the people that I think are just the top of the pyramid for morons. I mean, really stupid, ignorant, irresponsible assholes. Go ahead and mark that one.
Yep, got
it. Are the people that are openly carrying long guns. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a service member or servicewoman or anything like like there was one guy in Texas who was like kind of getting heckled by these guys, and one of the guys said, like, "I'm a Marine, I serve my country. I have the right to carry this rifle out in the street." And he wasn't in uniform or anything. I'm not saying that. I don't care who you are. It doesn't make it any less stupid, And they're doing the exact opposite of what they think they're doing. They're, trying to spread awareness. So what? Oh, well, if Jimmy Bob has a rifle, then it can't possibly be that bad. You're training people to ignore the cues that start mass shootings. Like that guy in the Walmart who is now, my buddy Mark just informed me that they're gonna charge him with like something. I forget what the charge is. They're really trying to press a charge, and for people don't know, two dudes were walking through Walmart, and one guy had a shotgun, and he's literally walking through, feeding the tube with shells.
Yeah, and they were racking. Okay, let's jump on that story real quick because that's something. So I'm gonna run through. If that happened at my Walmart, I would pull my gun instantly on someone racking a shotgun.
Yeah,
and tell them to put it down instantly. If they did not put it down or made any movement, I would shoot them. If they're walking through a Walmart racking a shotgun,
yeah.
I'm sorry, that's dead. That to me, just racking it alone, to me is literally that is enough for someone to be shot.
And I can't even imagine. And I'm not good with online forums. In fact, I was permanently banned from Pennsylvania Firearms Owners Association for getting into it with the open carriers. And it's like whatever. But no, I mean, I can't even imagine that they're defending those kinds of people. But that's part of the movement. It's like, look, why are you walking around public with an AR-15? And you're teaching people to ignore, like in your heart of hearts, you're teaching them essentially to ignore this pre-mass shooting indicator, And anybody walking around in public is going to get like if it's me, I'm going to draw on them, and if they don't do exactly what I tell them right then, I'm going to smoke them. I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry actually at all. And somebody I'm sure is saying like, oh, that's a gun owner, and you have to respect his rights. Bullshit. Look at all these mass shootings. It started. One example was a guy was loading a Chinese SKS. Right, like outside of a mall, and he had a duffel bag of magazines, and the concealed carry holder actually walked up to him and ordered him to drop it. He probably should have shot him. Really, was probably the better solution. But and I don't know how much time elapsed between him issuing that command and that guy, aiming up and shooting the guy, the concealed carry holder. But then he went into the mall and shot a whole bunch of people. So. There's no reason that you should have an uncased long gun out in public. And, and if you do that, you should like not be able to, your family like shouldn't be able to sue if you get smoked, There was one asshole who was dropping he brought an AR to, I think it was like Georgia.
It was Atlanta, the airport.
Yeah.
And he complained he was getting harassed by security.
Yeah. Because he had an AR because he was like dropping
with a drum magazine.
Yeah. And aside from the fact that like, I don't want to see it. It's not that cool. And B, it's like, who the hell knows what level of marksmanship this guy has? You know, I don't want him carrying that rifle in the middle of an airport. I'd really rather not know who has guns, you know, because of seeing how like irresponsible some people are with them. So, I mean, that is just the height of public distaste, ignorance, and brandishing. In fact, one of my friends thinks that a lot of those people are actually anti-gun people, trying to draw attention to the fact they can do this. And it's actually kind of a brilliant concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
One dude walked around with with some, you know, AR or AK or something at a soccer game, kids soccer game, walking up to people and saying, "I'm carrying this rifle and there's nothing you can do about it."
Wow.
And my buddy thinks that very well might be an anti-gun person, you know, who's calling attention to that so that people start, you know, now you can't bring guns into the park or whatever, you know. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. I think that they're doing the exact opposite of what they claim to be doing. I think it's irresponsible, and you know, after a couple of them get smoked out of their boots, then we'll see.
Yeah. Now, someone too, if it's like a rally or something, I think that's a little different. You know, if there's a rally, to me that's fine. But again, yeah, if it's, I mean, imagine if if I'm having dinner at Chipotle, that's just a complete random restaurant I'm selecting, and a dude walks in with an AR. How do you expect me to feel? You know,
I mean, I would challenge like the dudes that are doing that. Like, how would they feel? What are you gonna be like? Oh, hello, brother. No, I mean, that's a dude walking in there with an AR-15, and I think I just don't. But again, it's, you know, it's nearly impossible to have a logical conversation with an illogical person.
That is true.
You can't walk up to a guy in ISIS and be like, you know, it's probably not really cool what you're doing. He's going to be like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, I'm a religious fundamentalist and I want to kill all you people. You know, you cannot. Am I comparing an open carry rifle guy to an ISIS person? No, but I'm saying that the mentality of being, you know, an illogical person that is absolutely staunch on their thing, I mean, it's the same. It's probably the same synapses in the brain and stuff. Get a neuroscientist in here or something. See what lights up.
Practically Tactical, episode 81. We're bringing in a neuroscientist surgeon to discuss this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But here's something too that I mentioned the last time was, you know, I didn't put a whole lot of my intake on it because I kind of want to save it for this. Was if I walk around with an AR slung over my shoulder, you know, again, we talked about, you know, if that's your only way that you can carry, open carry, okay, you know, do it. You know, there are, again, what you talked about. But if I'm wanting, let me backtrack this. There are a lot of people that are undecided. They don't give a crap either way. There are quite a bit of those. If I walk into a place with an AR slung over my shoulder and I want to say, hey, I want to talk to you about guns, how do you think that conversation is going to go? You know, if I'm trying to bring people onto my side and have a conversation with them, I highly doubt I'm going to be able to start it with an AR slung over my shoulder.
Just stop being tweakers.
Tweakers.
You know? Like, that should be a bumper sticker. Stop being tweakers, you know? Like,
well, then who am I going to sell my Glock 17 RTF2 to for $3,000?
A tweaker.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I need them to sell that for $3,000.
There's no shortage of them there.
All right, I want to move on to another point here because I thought this was interesting, and this question comes directly from Trek, so I can't take credit for it. Is why are concealed carriers not often considered irresponsible? I'm sorry, no, wrong question. Backtrack. In the open carry versus concealed carry debate, while the open carriers called out so often, even though there are a lot of irresponsible concealed carriers, I thought that was a good one. I
think the answer is because you don't know who's concealed carrying. You know,
yeah.
It's, you know, it's actually kind of interesting, in my opinion. The other day, I was at the place right around the corner from me, and you like what I recommend people do is when you see people, you want to check their hands, check their waistline, where because hands hold weapons and waistlines are where people store weapons. Additionally, and there were at least 3 guns in this little tiny restaurant, and I couldn't believe one was like clearly a cop. I thought an off-duty cop with his daughters, and then one dude was just on a date, and they were both obviously printing. In fact, the cop, well, the guy who I think was a cop, had a compression shirt on, and it was hysterical. It was like this. And he just walked right in. And you know what the funny part is? I think I was probably the only person that even noticed, because people really aren't looking for it, especially if it's not part of their universe. So yeah, I don't know. That was a little side thing.
No, that's fine. I just thought that was an interesting question, because if you had to guess what percentage of concealed carriers are qualified's not the right term, but I'll use it, that are actually have enough training and or gun sense, if that's another word, to use that properly in a situation, what percentage do you think that is?
Probably lower than we would want, and probably low, very low. But I think that's kind of endemic with people. People buy guns because they want to feel safer. And a lot of people get a false sense of security because I have a gun. Okay, well, where is it? Well, it's upstairs in my drawer. Well, where are you right now? Well, I'm downstairs, or I'm in my car, or I'm at work. But they still feel safe because they have a gun. It's just a lot of not thinking out through the solution, through the end state of what they really are trying to achieve with that gun, which is obviously self-preservation, self-protection, protection of loved ones, etc. So the fact of the matter is, though, and thankfully, because this would be an easy anti-gun, win, is that, most concealed carry holders are they don't get in trouble with their guns, most of them, 99% of them, it's such a fraction of a percent. So clearly they're doing something right. But as far as being able to employ that gun, I don't know. I don't know what the number is, but it's probably pretty low, and it's because, it's again, one of those things of you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
When you don't know how to properly clear a cover garment and actually initiate your draw stroke, then you just don't know that. So you figure, well, I have a gun on me. Well, how do you get it out? Well, I have a gun on me. It's well, what do you do with it?
Well, that brings up a really interesting point is, so again, this past weekend I was down with MDFI doing the home defense shoot house. And so we were just talking a trek of, of people that come through them. And you're just talking about students and stuff. And, their class, it's called the You Suck, It's Not the Gun. It's the most popular class. When they drop their schedule, this class fills up. All of them fill up. It's a fantastic class. I mean,
malfunctions, a lot of malfunction stuff.
No, it is all based on accuracy. Literally all of it's based on accuracy.
Cool.
And
the lost art of accuracy.
Yeah, the lost art of accuracy. Right. And it's humbling, it's humbling, but it's a great way, and you try to get better. But so we're kind of talking about, everyone in the shoot house class was alumni, and he was like, well, yeah, it is, but when you look percentage wise, people buy a gun because they want to defend themselves at home. So you think the natural progression would be, okay, I'm going to get to the home defense class, and none of them do. No. And the amount of things that I learned in the home defense class was literally invaluable. You literally could not put a price on the information that I learned.
Right.
And kind of going back to the concealed carry thing of, if you don't know, then you have to personally go out and say, I am going to learn, and that takes training. I get the money thing, I totally get that, but if you have the gun, then you need to have the mental learning with it.
Yeah.
And it's just so many people just take the entry level class and I'm good to go, I'm fine. When in fact, you're really not at all.
Right.
You're not giving yourself the best chance. Well, and that's the rough aspect of And again, too, once you take your first class, I don't know to you, to me, it's addicting. Like I have a list of like 50 classes and 20 instructors I want to take classes with. Like there's literally not enough money in this world to do it all, you know? Like I want to just sell guns to take classes. And
dude, hey, don't forget that thought.
Yeah. No, I'm going to, I think. But it's just like once you gain that knowledge, it makes you so much better. You know, and it's not hard to do. Go out and take a class. For people in Wisconsin, there's a great company called Pod Shooting. That's what I think it's podshooting.com. Their class is like $125. They sell out quickly, but you can get some really good instructions for relatively cheap. $125 one day class.
Yeah.
And you'll literally be 100 times off better.
Yeah. And you know, it's also a life experience.
Yes,
you know, it really is. I mean, of course there's the learning that you do, and getting better with your gun and all that stuff and your mindset. Hopefully you know, with every class, there's a portion about mindset. But you know, it's also like just having done that, I've accomplished that, you know, and meeting people and seeing and hearing, you know, from people that's what their occupation is, you know, their occupation is training people, you know, it's pretty cool. And don't forget this, that, you know, because you were saying a lot of people like the next step when they bought the gun should be the home defense class or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Don't forget that 40 to 60% of guns that are bought today are never fired.
That's true. That's fact. I believe, who was it? I can't remember who, but he's saying that the average amount of bullet shot through a gun is 7.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is great for people like you and I, because we can get really good used guns. I got a Honey Smith & Wesson Model 19 the other day, 2.5-inch barrel, which is just like totally baller. 19-5. It's gorgeous.
Wow. You gonna stake out it? You can make a total stakeout gun?
I can't bring myself to do it. Like if it was rough, I would do it. But I mean, it's just a Honey. I mean, it's beautiful blued finish and all, you know, all machined and milled parts and no metal injection molding. You can't, I mean, like, I think the old Smith & Wessons and stuff, their bluing processes, you can't beat that. There's nothing like that today. You just don't see bluing like that unless you get to like Turnbull or somebody, you know?
Yeah. All right. So back to it here. I got to find my show notes. And yeah, Trek just texted me and he's so pissed he can't be on here right now.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
It is. We might try to do another show after this just to try to get him on so we can just do this. So
you know, you got me whenever I'm available.
All right. So what would be, and here's a question too, which I think is good. We've kind of covered who are the good people, who are the bad people. But what can gun owners do to be ambassadors to gun ownership, regardless of how they carry? Or maybe a simpler question would be, how should gun owners promote Second Amendment / guns?
You know, I think like at different points of my life and people in general, it's like you kind of get like, well, I was about to use a cuss word. You get really into some sort of thing, whether it's, you know, being like pro-life or pro-choice or whatever, and you kind of want to tell everybody, you know. And if you're pro-guns, sometimes it's like that. Like I really don't talk much about it anymore. I'd rather, you know, I think that they need to respect you as a person first before they can possibly really respect your opinion, especially if it differs from theirs. You know, like a lot of people that I know aren't into guns and don't like guns, and some of them are anti-gun. They're still my friends, you know. It's not how I base my life that it's like, well, if that person's, you know, anti-gun, I can't possibly be friends with them. You need to carry one. I think it's unreasonable, really. But I think by being kind of normal is how you be a good ambassador, you know. I don't think it's by walking around with a rifle, you know, being a good ambassador. I think that people should have that discussion when it's appropriate and that kind of thing. I mean, there's some people's minds are never going to change. There's a lot of people who've never even thought about it. But I think that a good way to do it is offer to bring someone to the range, you know? Like one thing that I do like to do, okay, so let me get to this point, is I'll say, you know, if somebody's really anti-gun, like they're no. I'll say, let's do this before you make a really strong stance on it. Let's just go out to the range, and then if you still hate it afterwards, seeing that, it can be done safely and all that kind of stuff, and it's fun, then at least you'll be able to make an informed, educated decision about why you really don't like them, kind of a little strategy.
No, that is. And here's something, because you brought it up and we talked about this when I scheduled you on the show. So what about the people who don't carry guns are sheeple?
Oh, I love that word.
Yeah.
I hate that word. I hate that word. If I can't say that word either on the air. But it's just absolutely, it does the opposite of what you want. You're not going to ever get anybody. Think about this. Think about the logic, okay? You're never going to get anybody to your side by starting it off with an insult.
That's
so
fact.
I hate the word sheeple. I don't like the word liberal. Liberals this, liberals that. It's like, dude, I have liberal friends, and they're not the problem that you're talking about. In fact, they're actually more freedom-loving than you are, because they actually believe in rights. Unlike the ones that you pick and choose depending on, what night it is, how the mood suits you. So, but I'm not going to go there. What was the question? I just totally ADD'd out.
The people who call people sheeple because they don't carry a gun.
It's a horrible idea. How are you going to preface this? Oh, hey, this guy, Nick, I really like this guy. He's not a gun owner. Hey, sheeple. Hey, sheeple boy. Come have a conversation about our rights. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's stupid. It's an insult, So people that use that word sheeple, I don't like any of those words. I don't like sheeple. I don't like sheepdog. I think it's just all overused. Becomes like water. As I had in my late acting teacher, George DiCenzo, used to say, like, if you drop 80 F-bombs in a row, it becomes like water. It becomes meaningless. I still drop a lot of F-bombs because I like to. So I guess I didn't really learn. but I don't think any of those words are helpful. As soon as you say liberal agenda or blah, 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 it's just people are people, man.
What now? So here, since we're kind of on that area of, is it okay for people not to carry a gun?
Carrying a gun is a lifestyle decision. It's absolutely okay. There's a lot of people that don't carry guns, and they shouldn't be. One person went through a whole series of classes, and then on the last day she said, not one of my classes, this is a secondhand story, but it's true. And on the last day after the shooting, she shot really good all week. She said, "Oh God, I hope I never ever have to use this thing." And then she said something along the lines of, because she couldn't shoot someone, because one of the instructors kind of brought her over and said, that's good. We don't want to have to use them, but if you do have to use it, well, what are you going to do? And she said, I can't shoot someone. I just can't do it. Well, do you think it's a good idea for her to carry a gun?
Nope.
Absolutely not. No, she should be working on other skills, like her verbalization, her managing unknown contact skills, her running skills, how she walks. She should be walking, in a certain way to exude some confidence. So no. So if you shouldn't be carrying a gun, you shouldn't be carrying a gun. If you don't think that you can use a gun, if you cannot visualize in your mind shooting someone in the chest and the face and the back and the eyeballs and the brain matter and all that stuff, you can't think of yourself doing and I'm being kind of graphic because you have to be. If you say, well, I just can't imagine that, I can't visualize that, then you really shouldn't be carrying a gun, because you may have to do that. And if you're incapable of doing that, well, now what does that gun represent? Something that person can use against you or maybe other people. So that's where mindset, trumps everything.
Oh, last question here, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll see if we can get on track on another show. I mean, literally tonight. I'm talking for everybody watching YouTube. We're gonna try to literally do this tonight.
You mean tonight?
Tonight, actually, literally after this, we're gonna try to make another link here to send to them. So you could be off the hook, Jeff. But I do want you to come and meet Trek. But anyways, we're getting off this point here. Is something we kind of beat around the bush last time. You know, we kind of start talking about this, and somebody go, well, you know, I don't want to get political, but I thought a good question would be, what should responsible gun owners be doing politically? I thought that was a good question that we kind of skirted around last time. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm not telling you have to tell somebody how to vote, but what should they be doing? You know.
Hey, look, you know, there are people that I have not voted for simply because they hated me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like hated me for being gay. I'm not going to vote for you. I don't care what you feel about guns. So, you know, that's my own little agenda. And I don't feel bad about that for a second, you know, but that's a different thing. I think that first of all, I mean, regardless of what you think of the NRA, you know, if you don't like all their policies, or you think that Wayne LaPierre is, you know, comes across as crass, just to be nice, like after the Newtown shooting. You know, I was embarrassed to be an NRA member, but I think that joining the NRA, because they are the biggest lobbying group for our rights, you just kind of have to do it. You just kind of have to do it because they're huge, you know, and they're the ones that are really putting the fight on, and defending, and, you know, and with the amount of money that the NRA has, they're able to go to court. You know, I can't go to court. I'm not going to go to court for 3 years, you know, to defend constitutional principles and stuff, aside from the fact that, you know, it's for all the above reasons. But yeah, I mean, I think that joining the NRA is really important. What we can do politically, I do think though that when, like, if there's a vote that's going to happen, and this is another thing the NRA is great about, is they'll send out you know, news flash things and kind of like emergency things about, like, something is going to get voted on. They'll send you the information of who the representative is, what their phone number is, what their email is, and, you know, think about this, like your office, you know, you're like some small senator or something, you get 450 emails and 90 phone calls. I mean, you can't handle that. Nobody can handle that. So it becomes one of those things that's really good. That's how you stand up, and just be a model gun owner. You know, don't be a bigoted, nasty person who happens to own a gun.
Yeah.
Notice what I just did there?
Yes, I did. Who happens to own a gun? Well, no, and again, I think you made great points. And again, thank you everybody on the chat. There's been a great conversation going on chat. Bunch of awesome comments, and here's one of the best one. What I'd like to say is, I don't agree on all Jeff says, but he is very articulate. He has thought out his points thorough. Well done.
Good. Well,
I think that's a great compliment. And there was a bunch of other people, of course, saying, you know, we love you. And I think one guy said he was blonde. So when you asked, but it's again, we got just awesome people out in the chat. We need to throw out the Delaware Patriots here, Mateo. There's been a bunch more people. I got to scroll up. There's a bunch of comments in here. Jarhead 6 was out there, and
you know what? I have one more little tiny comment.
Please jump in.
That I think that what we can do, not only politically, but in general with our lives, is be more inclusive. Be more inclusive to women shooters, to gay shooters, to liberals, to people that, you know, to vegetarians, to hipsters and stuff like that. These are all people that, you know, potentially need to be able to protect themselves, or potentially may enjoy shooting. A guy that was in the class over the weekend, who I just adore this kid. He's become a friend of mine. He got into shooting late in life. He's only been shooting for 3 years, and he smoked the class because he took it seriously. And his reason was funny. He's like, he moved from California to here, and when he got out of like cars, because he was like a big car culture kind of dude out in California, he's like, well, I need some kind of hobby. Well, guns, those are interesting. Mm-hmm. And so he's really taken it. So if you approach that guy and said like nasty things about whatever, he may not have felt welcome. So be inclusive. In fact, we are myself, somebody named Emma Kay, and a guy named Thomas Nelson are restarting the Delaware Valley chapter of the Pink Pistols, which is an LGBT shooting group. But you're welcome to, if you're LGBT friendly, you're also welcome to come and shoot with the group. So we're going to have meets. We're going to meet. I'll give you the information. Maybe you can put it below the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
July 21st, I think, something like that. And we're going to shoot for 2 hours and just hang out. And I think it's a really wonderful way to be part of an inclusive group. And some of those shooters are going to be pretty good too, the people that I've trained. So I love that idea. You know, what group needs it more than a group that can be openly hated, you know? So
yeah. Well, and somebody I want to point out too, which it just kind of reminds me of that, is you never know who owns guns. You really don't. So at this weekend shoot house class, we had a lawyer, we had a court guy, we had a chimney sweeper. I didn't even know chimney sweepers were still around. Did you? I didn't. Chimney sweeper. There's literally all walks of different life there. You know, Jesse, who makes holsters, me, who okay, well, I do. Yeah, okay, I do gun stuff. But there was just so many different walks of life there that you never know who's going to be there or what they do. And like the last time we were there, there was a couple there with a woman who's a nurse, I believe, and you just never know who likes guns. You don't. And if you automatically bash someone or something that they're affiliated with offhand, that shuts down the bridge, right?
It burns. You know, that bridge can never be there. And that's why making people's first shooting experiences is so important. You know, psychologically speaking, it's called priming. You know, if you've primed that person with a bad shooting experience, they're not going to ever want to do it again. You know? Yeah.
That's
and
my first.
Not only that, not only they're not going to want to do it again, they're going to be against it. So,
yep. Very good point. Yeah, that's why first impressions are one of the most important thing in life about whatever it is.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap it up here, but I do want to talk to Jeff because obviously you just hosted William April, who I need to get in contact with and get him on the show.
Yes.
But what else you got coming up?
I'm going to schedule medical, and then I'm focusing on private training in Philly. A lot of people coming from like kind of all over, which was really cool. You know, guy coming up from South Carolina, a bunch of people coming down from New York and stuff to do private training. And my private training guys smoke it. You know, they're really, really good. So I'm focusing on private training in Philly, and then possibly doing some road stuff. I'm really trying to get out of the road stuff because it's just tough. It's just tough all around. But yeah, so that's what I got coming up. Making some more YouTube videos.
Ah, awesome. Yeah, you need more YouTube videos.
I know. I get all perfectionistic about it and weird.
Well, I'm hoping everybody came up because they listened to Practically Tactical and heard about Jeff Bluvin. He sounds like a good guy. So,
yeah, brah.
But that's good. I'm going to wrap it up right here. But again, Mr. Bluvin, thank you for coming on, sir. Thank you for discussing this. And again, it's always refreshing to get someone else's point of view.
Sure.
You know, that is not, again, I don't want to say you're not a typical gun owner because literally you are. But you have different points.
I'm not a typical anything. I'm a weird, strange mutt.
But it kind of everything we hit on right there of you just never know who is into guns and who is into rights, or, you know, however you want to quantify it.
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's refreshing to get someone else's point of view. And so, and you know, because you'll always hear things you're like, wow, I didn't look at it like that.
Yeah.
Or I've never thought about that.
And you don't have to make a decision in that second about whether you agree or not. But if you think about it, if you're an open-minded person, that's all you can ever ask from someone, you know, really, is to just be open-minded.
Yep. And if you're open-minded, you'll learn more things. That's fact.
Yes, you will. And you'll have more friends. And you'll be handsomer. And you'll have better hair.
No, and we missed it tonight because AC Dude mentioned it is, if we could have got Trek on, it would have been the best beard on the internet versus the best hair on the internet. Would have been funny as heck. But that's going to wrap it up here, guys. And I appreciate everybody out there in chat. There's been way too many comments. I'm sorry I couldn't keep up on all of them. I did mention, Jake did mention that he would have dyed his hair for you. So that's always an option out there, Jeff.
Wow. I really like where this is going.
But wipers out there, please go check out firearmsradio.tv. /iTunes for especially all you YouTube guys. Check out all the other shows. There's tons of shows. If you're a precision shooter, we have a precision shooter show. If you like talking about, kind of what we talk about now is, gun news or stuff that goes on in the gun industry, check out This Week in Guns. If you want some more detailed stuff, go to Gun Guy Radio, which has no politics at all. If you didn't like the politics stuff we talked about, go listen to Gun Guy Radio. Gonna Give Your podcast. There's tons of excellent shows on the Firearms Radio Network. So please go check that out, firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. Again, please send me any compliments, feedback, guest suggestions to nick@firearmsradio.tv. I would love to hear who you guys want on the show. If you guys want to talk about this again with a certain instructor, email that to me, and I would love to know that so I know. And again, please give us a review on iTunes. So, Jeff, thank you, sir, for coming on. It's always refreshing, and you know what? It's always a heck of a fun time to have you on.
I love coming on here. Thank you very much for having me. You know I love coming on.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, as always, guys and gals, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for listening, as we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Practically Tactical.